How would you like to write, design and publish your very own children's picture storybook for Amazon KDP? Well, in this video, I'm going to be talking you through the key things that you need to know to successfully publish your children's book. So in this video, I'm going to be talking you through the key things you need to know, including niche research, keywords, the storyline, creating your illustrations and images, whether you should choose paperback or hardback, and the book launch. So these are the key elements that I want to talk through. So sit back, get ready, and start to publish successfully with Amazon KDP. Now, in this video, we're going to be discussing niche research. And niche research is one of those difficult topics because it doesn't necessarily come naturally. You do need to work on different skills to be able to find the right niches. And this video alone won't show you everything you need to know about niche research. Sometimes you go down a rabbit warren of different ideas and you get stuck in one, and then other days you just might find something very, very quickly. But my publishing schedule has slowed down a lot since I first started to self-publish books. And I complete a book maybe every 6 months now. It all comes down to creating the right storyline, giving my illustrator enough time to illustrate the amazing pictures that she's done, and I don't want to rush her. And also the important part, which I'll cover in another video, is about the book launch. You don't want to rush the book launch by having so many books that are coming out. So let's get on to our niche research. But before we do that, I'm going to just show you one slide from the course about the framework that you need to put together when creating a children's picture storybook. So let's get on to that now. Now, one of the key areas that I cover in section 2 of the publishing course for children's books is about your framework and creating your correct framework for your book. And a component of that framework is to research and find your book idea, and also Amazon niche research. And there are 2 Chrome extensions that I'd recommend that you get, called AMZ Suggestion Expander and also DS Amazon Quick View. And I'll refer to those during this video, but I just wanted to give you a heads up if you don't already have these. And so let's get into our Amazon niche research, and I'll get onto the main platform of Amazon right now. Now, the first thing that I do is go into incognito mode, just so that I have a fresh start with what I'm searching. I don't want Amazon to preempt different books that I'm looking for, so that's why I go onto incognito. And up here, I've got my 2 Chrome extensions. This one's DS Amazon Quick View, and this one is the AMZ Suggestion Expander. So what I would normally do, you can go to children's books, and let's just have a bit of a look and see what books are currently trending for this different niche area. So we've got Pete the Cat, which is a very popular book, Around the Farm, Dragons, Life Skills, Dinosaurs. So the general things are just here, but what I generally do for my niche research is just see if there's any trending patterns. I can see there's been a couple of dinosaur books there, another dinosaur book. So dinosaur books are obviously quite popular. Crane book. Let's go back up here and let me see if I can look at different books. So we might be thinking about a book about air travel for kids. So let's go children's transportation books. So we might have a look through here and see if there's any books about planes or anything. We can see ships, planes and aviation books. Let's see if there's anything here that we might be able to use. Keep going down. On a plane activity book, so that's a very popular one. My first book of airplanes, that's at 33,000, so that's pretty good. Keep going down. Andre Learns to Share. Monster Trucks is popular. another airplane book there, 25,000. The airplane pilot, 70,000. What I'd then do is consider that as an area for expansion. And what I'd probably do is hover over and have a bit of a look at the different areas that might help me out. So I'll go to the look inside. I'll see how they put this book together. It might be quite simple, which is looks like this. So they've got a bit of a story, some simple illustrations are in there, and it goes through the story. Now what I would normally do is scroll down and see what the reviews are like. There's 35 ratings or reviews, and I'll see what's working, what isn't working, and have a look at those star ratings there. So even though it's got some 3, 2s and 1s, it's still tracking at 70,000, which is quite good. It's in a couple of different versions, and it was published back in July 2021, so it's been around for a while. What I would probably do is, there's a new feature on Publisher Rocket, so children's planes and aviation books. So I'll go to Publisher Rocket. If you haven't got Publisher Rocket before, or if you haven't got it, I'll leave a link below for you to check it out. It's a one-off payment for Publisher Rocket, and it's a fantastic way to do your niche research. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to do a search under books, and what we're going to do is to see if there's any categories under a new feature of Publisher Rocket, which I really like. So if we do aviation, and we go down to, we might actually go back here, and it's called children's, I might just copy that, and see if that comes up directly for this. It's not there, so what we might do is go to planes. Okay, that might be there. So we've got, so to get to number 1 ranking, bestseller, you need 27 books sold, 11 to get in the top 10. 70% of the books published in this area, niche, are from large publishers. Now what we do is click Insights, and this will tell us it's actually got a category negative growth. So that may not be one we want to get into. However, let's just say you found a book about money for kids. Let's have a look. Business books, see if there's any books for here for children. Can't see any there, but I did see when I was on Amazon, if I go back to the start, if I just get rid of that and go click, and we're going to go back to, let me go back to the start. Click here, Amazon best-selling books, and I just saw this one. This one's got no reviews, but it's sitting at number 1 in the bestsellers. So it's doing quite well. So let's click here, and we're going to go down and find out what this is ranking. So this is money and saving, or children's money. Let's see if there's anything on that in Publisher Rocket. Books, children's books, money and saving, Insights. This one's got a lot of growth. So if you created a children's book about money, then this could be a great niche for you to get into. Yes, there are a lot of sales to get to number 1, but to get to number 10, you only need 15. A lot of the larger publishers are in this, which means that they must know something about the growth of this area. So that's a bit of an indication of how to use Publisher Rocket to your advantage, and you can also use this Insights tool a lot of different ways. And what you can also do is to link it up and to find out what goes straight to it, and you can see the different books that may be made in this area. So Brock and the Savings Shock. So if we go to this book here, we can find out what's inside this book. That might give us some inspiration as well. So we can scroll down and have a bit of a look. and see what this book's about. So it looks pretty simple. The illustrations are done well, but the way that they've written it is fairly simple. And that could be something that you could do yourself. So that's how I go through different areas, just checking it out. And then what I do is actually use a niche tracker. And for example, I've got a niche there called Kids Learn to Write Letter Tracing, and I've got the different keywords, and I've got what they call a long tail keyword, the average BSR. So if we go back to this book here, then we can use, say, savings shock. That would be a keyword that we might use, or money tails, they're keywords. And if we go down and have a look, it's at 4,000. The other thing we can do is go back one. To find out how this niche is going, I'm using KDSPY. Again, I'll leave the link in the description. KDSPY is a great tool to be able to find out how certain books are tracking, and it will give you the overall sales rank. So if we wait for these to load up, it'll also give you popularity. It's popular, potential, and there's only middle ground competition. If that was red, you might think about whether you go into it or not. But that's a really, really average sales rank across all these top 20 books. They're ranked under 7,081 with an average monthly revenue of 82,000. And if you look at this one here, Little Diamond Learns to Earn, it's got him at $1,382. That number one rank. But all these other ones are doing really well themselves, so you might be able to find out if there's some other books here that you get an idea from, and you can also track the keywords. You can get a word cloud and find out, and using these as keywords in your tracker to add into your title or subtitle of your book. But that's a bit about niche research. It's obviously not hugely comprehensive, but I wanted to show you some of the techniques I use when I'm going through niche research to find those books. And it doesn't have to be as complicated as creating low and no content books. But for children's books, because I don't create a lot of them, I just take my time, just finding out what's trending, what kind of niches would I like and would I be interested in going into, and then creating the story or the framework around that to begin with. So hopefully all of that helps. Niche research for kids' books can be great fun, and I do also understand the frustration that can come with trying to find profitable niches or uncompetitive niches. But the way I sometimes look at it is, if there are niches that are doing well, they might be competitive, but if I can create a great book, why can't I share some of that success in that particular niche? Niches that have a huge amount of competition shouldn't be an overall turn-off. Yes, there are niches that maybe if you're beginning, you probably should get into those, but also try and create your book in a particular niche and have a number of books maybe in that niche if that's possible. So if it was books about plane travel, then it could be about going on a holiday. It could be about flying on an airplane for the first time. There could be a few different things that you can do about aviation, and so that's where I recommend trying to hop into a niche and stay in that, but it's not always possible. And like I've done with a few of my books, I haven't stuck in a particular niche, but what I've done is got new experiences for kids. But remember, if you do need tools to help you with your niche research, I did use Publisher Rocket. I've got KDSPY, so they might be two tools that you would like to get. They're just one-off payments. You don't have ongoing subscription fees with those tools, so just check it out below in the link. And also use those Chrome extensions as well. They really help to sort of justify some of the niches that you might want to get into. In this video, what we're going to be doing is covering keywords and how we can use those keywords for areas in our book and our metadata, like our title, our subtitle, our back-end 7 keywords, but also for Amazon advertising. So let's get into this lesson. I'm going to be using a couple of pieces of software for this, but I'm also going to be talking through the process that I use when I do create my books and the keywords and finding those right keywords so that will help you eventually rank on Amazon, but also how those specific keywords can be used when you're doing your marketing through Amazon ads. So let's get into it right now. Now, the first thing that I do is refer to my template for collecting and collating the keywords. So you can either create your own. I'll provide a link to this template you can use for free if you want to. It's through Microsoft Excel, but you can just use a Google Sheet if you want to. But what I do is collate the main keywords that I'm looking for, then list them up. I'll note whether they're what we call a long or short tail keyword. So a short tail keyword might be aeroplane book for kids, and a long tail word might be aeroplane books for kids aged 4 to 6 years old. So what I then do is list those down with the average BSR, or the ranking of that book, and I've also got other search results and whether it's on first page or page 10. I've got other videos about keywords, so I'll also link them in the description rather than going through the whole thing, but this template will really help. But let's get into what I do when I'm researching keywords and the different tools that I use as well. So the first place that you should go to would be Amazon, and I use Amazon.com, largest bookstore in the world, online bookstore, so I go to the place where it's got the most data. So what I would do is similar to niche research. What I'm trying to do is ascertain different keywords that might be part of the book that I'm creating. So in video number 2, I found a niche about financial books for kids, and you can create a children's picture storybook about finances if you want to. They're actually ranking quite well. Look, if you look at Little Damon Learns to Earn, that's still ranked at number 3. And when I was doing this book series and we looked at that book, that was ranked number 1 only 24 hours prior. So we can learn from seeing different books and what they're doing. So if we were to click on this one here, then we can see, if we go to the subtitle, Learns to Earn, so that could be a keyword that we'd want. But if we go into the actual category, this is in children's money and saving reference books. What I would then do is start to pick apart some of the books that are in here, and I might find a word, say investing for kids. So I would go to my spreadsheet and I would write the investing for kids in my spreadsheet. Then I'd go back again and I would start to look at other ones. So investing for kids, that's another one there. Then we might have a look at this one, Penny. So that is Forgotten Coin. So that could be a book that's under Kindle though. Moneytopia, saving. So saving, financial literacy for children. So that might be another one that we copy, and I might put that in my tracker as well. So put that in there. So what I normally do is start going through and checking if there's any different keywords that I can find that are going to be helpful for my book creation, whether it be in the title, the subtitle, the 7 back-end keywords, and also if I'm doing Amazon ads. So if we were to grab this word, and I'm going to fast forward through this, otherwise it'll be much longer than the 10 minutes I want to hold these videos to. So if we were to grab one of these keywords, if I was to even put that one in, that copy that, and I'm going to put it into my search results. at the moment 1,000 results, which is fantastic. So that's very good. The next thing I'd probably do is, let's go here, and I'm going to go to KDSPY, and let's see what KDSPY brings up regarding this. So we can see average sales rank of 1,054. It's a lot, but what we'd normally do is get rid of the outlining ones that are just huge. So I'd normally get rid of 3 or 4. So that's an outlier. That's definitely an outlier. And maybe one more. So this one here. So it's still quite high. I may not consider going into this if I see that, but it's not to rule it out. But if we go to word cloud, then this will help us to find the different words that are being used. And again, you can use these words to put into your tracker. The other thing that I'd recommend doing, if you don't have Publisher Rocket, then get it. So I'm going to go to Publisher Rocket now, and I'm going to go to my keyword search. I'm going to put in the financial literacy for children. Let's go get 'em Rocket. Let's find out what Publisher Rocket comes back with and how competitive our score is. So we're going to click this button here. This will tell us 100 being the most competitive, 1 being the least competitive. So it's fairly competitive. There's under 100 searches per month, but the average monthly earnings are quite good. Number of competitors are under 1,200. But let's go and check out in more detail what books are doing well. So we can see Investing for Kids. I'm just trying to find a children's picture storybook. So Moneytopia, we saw it's got 35 pages in that book, and it's selling $775 monthly sales. Here's another version of it. I'm just trying to see what the difference is. Not sure why it's been listed twice, but that one's at $4,946. But let's go to it and see what it says. It's got 32 ranking. Let's have a look inside it, see whether it's something that we could create. So I'm going to scroll through. Easy, we can do that. It only shows a few pages. Maybe there will be something else so we can see what's in it. I'm sure we could do that with a good illustrator. We could create something like that. Looks very, very basic. Sometimes there's reviews with photos as well. So if you scroll down, can't really see any reviews, but it's good to read these reviews here, the verified reviews and what they come up with. So I can see there's a number of 5 stars here, which is really good. It tells you that people are actually looking for those kinds of books. It was published back in 2022, so just under a year old from the time of this, and it's currently ranked at 6,662. So what I would do is check a few things out. I'd do the look inside. I'd write down the different keywords, so financial literacy for children. I would then also go into the different categories as well, and then you can also use Publisher Rocket to identify more of those keywords. And if you wanted to, once you're ready for getting keywords for Amazon advertising, you can put that in there, go get 'em Rocket, and this will provide a whole list of different keywords that you can use and also books you can target for your Amazon advertising. So if we go down here, we can see the different titles of the books, and you could use those if you're doing an ASIN or a category target campaign for your Amazon ads. So that's a quick way of doing your keyword research. We'll have a last couple of minutes just looking through this a bit more. I'm going to go back to my incognito, get rid of this one, and let's have a look. We'll go to books. You can do all. There's no right or wrong if you're choosing books or all. I just tend to go for books. So let's go to this one here. So we've got my money books for kids. And we've got a couple of choices there. So you could write both of these down as keywords. Kids, books about money. enter that in your list, and then money books about kids. So I'm going to click on that one. There's 60,000 results. A lot. Fairly competitive keyword. So you need to keep that in mind. If we go, let's try kids books about money. Let's see if this is different. See 3,000 results. Let's see how competitive, let's see what the results are with KDSPY. Again, I'll leave the link down below. This looks like it might be better for us to create a book about. Let me just get rid of my face there. So it's adding up. We'll just wait for these. Competition's quite high. Average sales rank's very good. Might get rid of an outlier. That's pretty big. And so these are books here. I cross them out because the others are ranking quite low. If you look at the whole band, but there might be 2 or 3 that are just blown out books. Well, you might as well get rid of those because that doesn't give you a true reflection of that keyword or that particular niche. So at the moment, rank 66 and good monthly revenue. You can go to your word cloud, and at any time you can click on one of these books and it will take you there. And it'll also talk about, or show you the reviews and how they're progressing, and the monthly revenue, the price as well, and the length of the book. So let's go look at this one. So Noel buys a car, published back in May 2022, 29 ranking. Sorry, 29 reviews. Let's go down to see how it's going. 347, pretty high, but still, I think there'd be plenty of books that we could look at in more detail to see whether that would be something we'd want to go into. So that gives you a bit of an idea about the the keyword research, but there's other tools you can use as well. I'll just quickly show you a couple of the other tools that you might consider for keyword research. And there are a few different Chrome extensions that you can use. So keywords everywhere, you'll see the data come up. So if we did financial literacy for children books, well, let's just see whether anything comes up here. So it will show you all there. If we scroll down, you can see the related keywords. So these are keywords that you might want to include into your title or subtitle. You can export these results as well, and people are searching for. So they're the different words that people are searching for. You've got the long tail keywords, so you can copy that and paste that into your main tracker right here as well and give it a yes. So that will give you a good indication of what's going on. And there's also a couple of other apps that you can use, and there's one other website that I use. And so it's called keywordtool.io, and you can click on Amazon, and then you can click in what you want, and then this will provide you with different keywords and searches that you might like to use as well. You can obviously get the pro version, or you can pay for more if you want to. You can subscribe to the keyword tool. That's up to you. I generally find that I'll be able to get quite a few of the keywords for free without having to do the subscribe, but you're welcome to do that if you want to. So there's some of the techniques that I use when I'm doing my keyword research for children's books. And if you want some more information or more videos about keyword research, I'll include those in the links below in the description. But importantly, you just need to find those keywords that are going to be ones that customers are searching for. You don't want to have obscure titles in your book. You need to include the right keywords that make sense, that are fluent within your title and your subtitle, but also use those words that you can't use in your title or subtitle and put them in the 7 back-end keywords. And then when you're doing your Amazon advertising, you can use software like Publisher Rocket or Keywords Everywhere. You can do searches on Amazon to find out what people are searching for, to include those for your campaigns. Creating a children's book is, as I've mentioned in other videos, just great fun. And part of that process is creating the storyline. And it does obviously play a critical part. You need to get the storyline right. But there are some things that you do need to understand when you're going through that process. So let me provide an overview of those right now. So the first thing you need to consider is your customer. And we're looking at the age, the gender, and the interests of your specific avatar, your customer that's going to be reading the book. Now, is it going to be a parent that is reading the book to the child? So the book might be for 1 or 2 year olds, or is the child old enough to read the book? So you need to think about the age appropriateness of the way that you're writing. Is it a learn to read kind of book? Are there rhyming elements which might be difficult for the child to pick up and get the right story and pattern as the parent is reading the book? So you need to think carefully about those dynamics. And also the gender of the child and maybe what their key interests are. And is it to do with different experiences? Is it a book about real life experiences, or is it fiction? You just need to determine those key factors for the first part of getting your story together. Now let's look at number 2. So number 2 are your characters. So you need to define the characters within your book. So for me, Archie the bear is the main character of the book. Now at times there might be baby bear that joins, and mama bear and daddy bear that might be joining in on my Archie the bear books. But the main character is Archie. You might have 1 or 2 different characters as part of your book, and there might be a series of characters that come through. And that will help you to create your storyline around that particular character. So that's number 2. Number 3 is the plot. What are you writing about? Is it going to include humour? Is it going to be quite serious? Is there going to be a storyline that comes out with a hero in the end? What is your story about? Is it going to be something that's cheerful? Is it something that starts off sad but has a happy ending? You need to think through the plot from start to finish, and that will help you to create the characters, create the storyline as you're moving through that process. The next step is to think about the message of that story. What at the end of the book do you want the child to feel? Do you want them to learn something? Do you want them to have experienced something that maybe is new to them? Is there something that they're anxious about? It might be starting school or starting kindergarten. It might be their first trip on an aeroplane. It might be their first time to the beach. It might be their first time swimming. You need to think through those elements about what that story is about and what the end point's going to be for you. And does that lead on to the next series of books that you're creating? And finally, we're looking at the format. Now, my books are rhyming storylines. I find that for me, it captures the essence of the story when I have a rhyming format. I personally like to write that way, and I generally keep my books to about 30 to 35 pages in length. But you might have a different way of writing your story. You might have a natural gift of writing in a particular way, and you need to think through how long's the story going to be. Again, it's about character development and what that looks like for your storyline. So that is the final point. We bring it all together. So let's look at those key points again. Number 1, who is your customer? Age, gender, and their interests. Number 2, the characters that you want to form part of your story. What is the plot? Are they going to have new experiences? Are there going to be things that they see and go and do? What is the message of the story, and what do you want that child to feel at the end of that book? Even the parent, how do you help them guide that child through that story? And finally, the format. And is it going to be writing? Is the writing style rhyming? how many chapters you're going to have, is it a short or a long form book, and is it a fiction or non-fiction book. So there are some key elements that I want you to consider when you're writing your storyline for your children's book. Now, I do cover this more in depth with my course. However, I think this is a great starting point for you to work through these points to begin your story so you can create your own children's book. Now, in this video, I'm actually going to cover illustrations. Now, for me personally, I go down the track or the route of choosing an illustrator, because for me, choosing an illustrator is conducive to the kinds of books that I'm creating. So in my series of books, which is called Archie the Bear, I have an illustrator called Svetlana, and she does some incredible work. And I've been engaging with Svetlana for all of my books because the kinds of books that I'm creating are about experiences, and I want a bit of an old school look about those illustrations. Now, if you haven't looked at my or watched my previous lessons as part of this series, we look at the book that I created, Archie the Bear. Then we also looked at niches, keywords, the storyline, and now we're up to the illustrations. So what I'm going to do right now is show you a couple of the illustrations that I had completed by Svetlana in my book, and they're hand-drawn illustrations, so they're very, very unique. So in my book, Archie the Bear, I'm just going to open up to one of the pages. So if I go to this page right here, you can see the exquisite work that is going into these illustrations. So you can see those right there, and that obviously takes a fair bit of time to get those illustrations right. But what I'm going to also do is provide a number of different options that you can consider when you're looking to either engage an illustrator or even do those illustrations yourself. So let me bring up a few of the different options, and I'll allow you to go and explore those different options. But I just want to provide you with a number of them and how they could potentially help you with your illustrations, and probably the pros and cons against each of these options that you could choose. So let me show you them right now. So some of the sites that you could consider using, and I'll quickly visit a few of these. We've got Pixabay.com, Unsplash.com, Vecteezy.com, Canva.com, Midjourney.com, and Microsoft Bing have actually brought out a new AI creation tool like Midjourney. I'm going to create a video in the future about that, but for today, I just wanted to talk about those commercial use image opportunities. So let's go to those a few of these websites right now, but you can also outsource your images using Upwork and Freelancer and Fiverr, but I'll cover that in a moment. So let's go to some of these commercial use images that you can use. So to begin with, we've got Pixabay, and the main thing is to ensure that you can use the images for commercial use. It's the main thing. So if we were doing a search, let's just say it is a search for child at the beach, or illustration of child at the beach. Now let's see what it comes up with. So you've got different illustrations that you could potentially look over and have a look at. Sometimes you might find that these different websites have crossovers. So you could have some images that have a crossover between, say, Pixabay, and if we go to this one right here, let's do the same, and we're going to explore, click that one. You can also see that we've got different images right here that we can choose from. Again, you'll just need to spend some time looking through if you can find illustrations. Let's have a look at these ones. So you can go images, and this one's called Vecteezy.com, and we'll do the same to find out what we can actually find. So if we scroll down here, let's get rid of this. You can find all these different illustrations that you might like to use. But remember, you want consistency within the illustrations that you're doing. So at the moment, we've got Pixabay, there is unsplash.com, we've got vecteasy.com, and when you're again looking at these sort of things, you need to make sure that you've got the commercial use of these images. So if we were to click on this one right here, then what you need to do is to check out whether you can, if you need a pro license, or if there's a way that you can determine if there's a way that you can find out if you need the pro license and what that includes. So the free license, you can get the use of images, but with the pro, there are obviously a number of different advantages there. So the attribution is your work and allows you to provide free content, grow the community. So you can have a look at those. Now let's have a look at the other option here, which is to use Canva. Now I've got Canva Pro. If we were to go to design and we'll do a similar thing, child each, I'll find out what they've got here. So you can find out if there's any images that you might like to use from Canva. You can also go to this one and have a look at different graphics that you might be able to choose, and go to the graphics right here, and you can find a lot of these different images that you could potentially use if you wanted to use these in your story. Again, when you're using Canva, you can use the images for commercial use as long as you are not just using the straight up template. So you couldn't just use that by itself. You might need to delete some things, change things around so that you aren't just copying the exact images that are on Canva, but you can use the images for commercial use. And if you want to look into that further, make sure you do a Google search of commercial use images for Canva and the use of those images. So they're the different options if you're choosing to do the illustrations or designs yourself. But if you wanted to use other sites like Fiverr or like Freelancer or Upwork, then it's important that you do your homework to find out what illustrators might be reasonable and what they're going to provide in regards to the work that they can do. So I'm going to show you some illustrations that I had done by someone on Upwork, and I thought these were really good. And these are the illustrations that I had completed when I was doing a book about going to the beach, and that's as part of the course that I show you this process as well. But you can see the quality images is great. The only difference that I'll probably make is make the change of the hat to a different color. It blends in with the sand too much. So in hindsight, I would have probably got the illustrator to change that. But when you go to websites like Freelancer, you can hire a freelancer and you can create different challenges and you can choose your illustrator that way. But I just wanted to provide you with all of these different options that are available for you, because choosing an illustrator is just critically important. One of the other areas that you need to consider if you were to engage in Illustrator is the way that you convey what is required for each of the illustrations. You need to be very descriptive of what you want. You need to get what's up in your mind and allow them to be creative with that information. Now, if you're using AI technology such as Midjourney, just carefully check that you have the commercial use of those images. You don't want to be pulled up later and have a legal fight on your hands because you've used images that have been created by AI that have the ability to have dual commercial use from Midjourney and you being the author. So that's just a something to be wary of and aware of as well. When you're creating your illustrations, you just want them to be as best as you can for your children's book because they do really bring it to life. And in my course, I provide the templates for what I've used to bring the descriptions together for my illustrator to create the illustrations. And having a great relationship with your illustrator, if you were to engage someone, just really helps because they become part of that process, part of that story, and they're really wanting their work to be seen as well. Beyond what they're doing for you, if you can help promote their work, then that's even more beneficial for them later down the track as well. So hopefully that information does help. Now, the next video we will be doing will be about the book launch and how I've been able to get my books to either a bestseller or a #1 new release. Now, you may find it challenging to get a bestseller in some categories which are highly competitive, but at least if you can get that #1 new release tag, that will definitely help with the sales. But we'll cover that in the next video that I create. Now we're looking at the book launch process, which is highly important because after you've done all that hard work to create your book, that's pretty much the 50% mark. The next 50% is ensuring that customers know about your book and doing everything you can to ensure that you can get as many sales in the first 30 days that will help the Amazon algorithm to pick up your book and to rank it higher, allowing more customers to view your book. Now, these videos are coming off the back of my best-selling course on Udemy about how to write, create, and self-publish a children's book, but also I have another course on Udemy about how to successfully launch your book, and I'll be going through a few of those steps today. But if you want greater detail and you want all the strategies that I personally use, then I would highly recommend you go and do that. So just check out the links below. Now, my book series, Archie the Bear, when I launched my book, I created within the first 2 weeks the tag that had #1 new release. Now, to get that #1 new release, you obviously have to generate enough sales within that category to allow Amazon to pick that book up and say, well, there's a new book on the market, we think it deserves some recognition, we're going to put a tag on it. And that #1 new release really does help to generate those sales. But what things can you put in place to ensure that you can get that badge and hopefully, as time goes on, get a #1 bestsellers badge, which is the ultimate. That really does help to drive sales. So let me show you a few things that you can do to help with your book launch, but I'm going to show you a free method. And I'll cover a few things off that you can do as part of the paid method. But as I said, most of the real the meat and bones of what I do is contained in my longer form course. I just don't have the opportunity in this video to show you all of those systems and processes. And I think the course would really help to give you the step-by-step plan that I personally use, but you'll see from the results that I have with Archie the Bear that I'm doing something right. Because at the moment, Archie the Bear is ranked at about 35,000, and I have continued to implement what we call my 12-month launch plan to ensure that I continue to get traction, and then over the long term that book will continue to rank really well. So let's have a look at a few things that we can go into that will help you with a free launch. So if you don't have the budget to create a paid launch plan, then at least you can implement a free launch plan. But there's a few things that I definitely recommend, so let's get onto that now. So as I mentioned, what we're really aiming for is to get this #1 new release badge, which comes up right here. And this book was released on March 28, 2023. And if you get a #1 new release, it tends to be applicable for about the first 30 days after launch. So if we scroll down here and have a look at where this book is currently ranked, it is ranked at 628. So that's doing exceptionally well. So if you were wanting to get a #1 new release, then you'd have to be doing better than that ranking under 600, which is very, very good. But let's have a look at the results that I've had with my Archie the Bear book, and hopefully that will show you that a few of the strategies that I'm going to talk about are effective and do work. When I launched Archie the Bear back in August of 2022, about 2 weeks after launch, I was able to get the #1 new release badge. So I had some reviews going. It was a combination of gaining the early reviews, marketing and advertising, and then building sales over the first 30 days and having a 12-month plan in place. So what can you do if you don't have much of a budget and you'd like to create a successful launch strategy? So let's have a look at that now. It's a bit blurry, I apologize for that, but the free launch method, I think it's got limited success. It's more like a slingshot. I prefer to have a rocket launch, which is a combination of paid and some free ways. So -5 days, you would probably research Facebook groups where you could potentially market your book, and you would have also researched additional categories that you can include when you do launch your book. You can contact Amazon KDP and request an additional 6 categories, in total 8 categories. So on day 1, your book goes live, and then you could upload your book to a review platform called Booksprout, and you can request up to 20 reviews. Now, it used to be for free. I believe that may have changed now. But for my longer form books, I've found that Booksprout was really good. Lower content, like children's books, it's fairly good, but I wouldn't use it for any no content books. I then add my A+ content to my book, add those as 6 additional categories by contacting KDP. I would then make contact with Facebook groups and make a post about the book and see if you can get some reviews that way. You can also consider making a YouTube video or short, like a video short of the book. You can chase up any outstanding reviews that you have from Booksprout. So this is part of a step-by-step process over the days. And then once you've got the look inside occurring, then you can request to have that increased by 10% increments up to 80%. So if usually when they release your book, it's on 10%, I'd usually increase it to 20 or 30%. Now, what can you do to maybe increase your chances even further if you've got a budget as part of your launch? So there are a few different things that you can do if you're prepared to have a budget for your launch. As I said, it's just so important to get the launch right, because if you don't, that book can be buried amongst the other millions of books on Amazon, and you work too hard to create a book without giving it an opportunity to breathe and to showcase it to customers across the world. Now, a few things that you can do, obviously, is using Amazon ads. It's a direct pathway to customers that are already looking for books just like yours. If you're using other methods like Facebook ads, that customer may not necessarily be someone that purchases from Amazon. So they would have to go off Facebook to then go to Amazon, perhaps create an account to then go to purchase that book. Also, customers, when they're using Facebook, might just be scrolling through and they're looking at pictures of what their friends are eating in the afternoon, or photos of other family members. They may not necessarily be looking for something to purchase, but Amazon ads is a different story. People, on the whole, are generally using Amazon to purchase. So if your ad comes up, that's a great way of doing it. Also, importantly, is to get reviews and to get reviews as quickly as you can, and you just need to ensure that you abide by the terms of business of Amazon and ensuring that you do it the right way. So you're not asking friends and family, direct friends and family, to provide reviews. If you can get the verified reviews, verified and unverified. So verified is when someone has personally purchased your book, and it will come up with little verified. And then there's unverified reviews. So you might even be able to provide a free copy of your book in return for an unbiased review, and that is permitted. You just are not permitted to pay for reviews. So you just got to be very, very careful with that. So there's a few different things you can do. As mentioned, I do have my course, and that's on Udemy, and I go through the whole procedure, all the steps that I take to generate that #1 new release and hopefully a bestsellers badge, which I've done for plenty of other books before. And getting that #1 bestsellers badge does significantly boost your sales. It gives it social proof, and that's what your #1 aim is. You can also, if you check out the links below, go to my book launch basics, where I've got a couple of tips about what you should be doing when you're launching your book. So that might be of interest to you as well. So just check that out too. So hopefully this does give you a broad look at book launch strategies. Just make sure you do whatever you can those first 30 days. You can use Facebook groups to help you get reviews or purchase your books. Use Amazon ads as well. You can even jump onto YouTube and create a YouTube video. You could be part of a podcast. You could get a written piece up in a newspaper or a magazine, or appear on radio or TV. You've just got to do whatever you can to get your book recognized. So I'll leave you with those pointers. Don't leave it by chance of putting your book up onto Amazon expecting them to do the hard work to promote your book. They love books that are selling, and if your book is selling, they will lift that book up. So you need to play your part into or to help that book get those initial sales, and that will also help with your keywords as well. So I hope you enjoyed that series of videos that help to talk you through how to write, create, design and publish a children's book on Amazon KDP. There's a lot of things that are involved, a lot of moving parts with writing and publishing a children's book, but it is so much fun. Now, if you want more information about my publishing, about how I can help you with your publishing, make sure you visit globalselfpublishing.com. There are so many resources there. There's plenty of different software products. There's also lots of resources that can help you to self-publish successfully on Amazon KDP and also Ingram Spark. So until I create my next video, I look forward to seeing you then.